My birthday cake was taller than my little cousin. 5 tiers, white buttercream, gold sugar flowers that looked too real to eat. 300 people around the pool, phones up, smiles on, waiting for the moment that would end up on somebody's feed. I stood under the lights with a flute of champagne in my hand, barely tasting it. My mother's fingertips rested on my elbow like a stage mark, gentle, possessive, like, stand here, don't move. And my aunt, my mom's sister, took the microphone. She was wearing black because she loved contrast. A woman who knew exactly how to look like the selfless one, the helper, the martyr. Her smile was bright enough to fool strangers. It never fooled me. "Claire," she said, dragging my name out like it tasted sweet. "Our golden girl, our princess." Laughter rippled through the crowd, the polite kind, the kind that doesn't mean anything. Then her eyes locked on mine, and her voice dropped, just a little, so everyone leaned in without realizing it. "You think you're a princess?" she said. "You've lived off your parents' money, off their love." And then she paused, savoring it. "And even your life is only yours because of me." My throat went tight, because that wasn't a toast. That was a confession. She tilted her head like she was doing me a favor. "You're not their miracle," she said. "You're their replacement." The word hit me behind my ribs. Replacement. Like I was a plan B with a heartbeat. And right then, standing in my perfect dress in front of 300 witnesses, I understood something awful. My life wasn't a story. It was a script. 72 hours earlier, I was still pretending my family was just lucky. Not perfect, not fake, just lucky. My mom called it a birthday weekend, like it was a holiday on the calendar. She'd booked a private chef, hired a string trio, and ordered a custom backdrop with my name in cursive, big enough to be seen from the street. I'm not an influencer. I don't post thirst traps. I don't do brand deals. But in my house, appearances weren't about the internet. They were about control. My dad walked through the kitchen in a crisp button-down, coffee in hand, talking into his AirPods like he owned time itself. He kissed my forehead without breaking stride. "Big weekend," he said. "Smile. Be gracious. Make your mother happy." That's what love sounded like in our family. An instruction. And my aunt, my mom's younger sister, was already up, already moving. She had flour on her hands like she'd been baking for hours, even though we had caterers coming. She did that on purpose. Aunt Tessa liked to look indispensable, like the house would collapse without her. "Sweetheart," she said, touching my shoulder, "I made you lemon muffins, your favorite." Her voice was soft, warm, almost motherly. But her eyes did a quick inventory. My hair, my nails, my jewelry. The way my mom's attention landed on me like a spotlight. Tessa smiled anyway. She always smiled anyway. She'd lived with us for years, not because she had nowhere else to go, because my mom needed her close. That was the story we told people. Tessa sacrificed her own life to help raise me. The real story was complicated, and nobody ever said the quiet parts out loud. At breakfast, my mom slid a small velvet box across the table. Inside were pearl drop earrings. Classic, expensive, too perfect to be accidental. "Wear these for the party," she said. "They photograph well." My aunt laughed lightly. "Of course they do. Claire always photographs well." The words were sweet. The tone wasn't. Then she leaned in with that fake concern she'd mastered. "Just don't get nervous, okay? Don't ruin your makeup. People will be watching you all night." People will be watching. That line hit different now, thinking back. Like she wasn't warning me. Like she was promising something. After breakfast, I went upstairs to my room to answer texts. friends, cousins, a dozen "can't wait" messages. My phone buzzed with one more. From Marisol. Marisol used to work for us. Housekeeper, nanny, whatever title my mom felt like using that week. She'd left suddenly last year. No goodbye party, no warm send-off. Just gone. Her message was short. I found something of yours, from the old storage bins. I'm sending it back today. Please be careful. Please be careful. My stomach tightened, the way it does right before you read bad news. I texted back, "What is it?" No response. At noon, a delivery guy rang the gate, a small cardboard box. No brand name, no bow, no note. Just my name, written in thick black marker, like someone was in a hurry. I carried it to the kitchen island and opened it with my nail. Inside was an old digital camera, chunky, scratched, the kind you'd bring to a middle school field trip. And taped to the back, like a secret, was a tiny SD card in a clear plastic sleeve. My aunt walked in behind me, and I felt it before I saw it. The change in the air, like the house had taken a sharp breath. "Aw," Aunt Tessa said, stepping closer like she'd just walked in on something cute. "Look at that, the little camera." Her smile was soft. Her eyes weren't. "Where'd you get it?" she asked, already reaching. I slid the box an inch away without thinking. "Marisol sent it," I said. The name hit her like a slap. Just a micro flinch, a blink that lasted half a beat too long. Then the smile snapped back into place. "Oh," she said lightly. "Marisol, right." And then, too casual, "She still has a key to the service gate?" My fingers tightened around the SD card sleeve. "No," I said. "She mailed it." Tessa nodded like she didn't care, but she kept staring at the card like it was a live wire. "That thing probably doesn't even work," she said, laughing. "You should toss it. It's junk." Junk. That's what people call evidence when they're scared. My mom walked in mid-sentence, wearing a silk robe like she was already in a magazine spread. "Claire, honey," she said, eyes flicking to the camera, then the SD card, then back to my face. Her expression didn't change, but her voice got careful. "What is that?" she asked. "An old camera," I said. "Marisol sent it back." My mom's hand paused on the countertop, just for a second. Then she smiled. "How thoughtful," she said. "Put it away, okay? We're already behind schedule." Behind schedule. Like the day had a script, and I was ruining the timing. Aunt Tessa clapped her hands. "Exactly," she said. "We have so much to do. Hair, makeup, photos." Then she lowered her voice, sweet as sugar. "I'll take care of that little thing for you." She held out her hand, waiting, expecting. I didn't give it to her. I smiled, because that's what I'd been trained to do. "I'll deal with it later," I said. Tessa's eyes narrowed, just for a heartbeat. Then she laughed again, too loud. Okay, she said. "I just don't want you distracted." Distracted? From what? They both left the kitchen together. My mom's hand rested on Tessa's arm as they walked, an intimate little touch that looked like sisterhood to outsiders. To me, it looked like a leash. The second they were gone, my skin started buzzing, because I'd felt it. Not curiosity, fear. I carried the SD card upstairs to my room like it could explode. I shut the door, locked. Then I dug through my desk drawer until I found my old laptop with the SD slot, the one I used in college. My hands were shaking as I slid the card in. A folder popped up automatically. No password, no warning, just a list of video files with dates. And one title that made my mouth go dry. Hospital 2014 Final.mp4. I clicked it. The screen went black for a second. Then the video opened on harsh fluorescent light and a shaky handheld frame, like someone was filming in secret. I saw my mother, younger, thinner, sitting rigid in a plastic chair, and I heard her voice, strained, almost pleading. "Tessa, please, not here." Then Tessa's voice cut through, cold and familiar. "You don't get to beg," she said. "You don't get to pretend you're innocent." The camera angle shifted, and for a split second, the lens caught a hospital bassinet, a tiny bundle of blankets, a newborn. My stomach flipped, because the date on the file was 10 years ago, and that newborn should have been me. My mother's voice cracked. "What do you want from me?" Tessa didn't hesitate. "I want what I'm owed," she said. Then she said the sentence that turned my blood to ice. "Remember this," Tessa hissed. "If you don't want to lose this baby, you live in guilt. You let her replace my child." "She's mine." Then, quieter, deadlier. "But she'll wear your name." I slammed the laptop shut so hard it hurt my palm. And downstairs, through the vent, I heard the faint clink of glass, like someone was already rehearsing a toast. Back to the party, back to the heat from the uplights, the string trio, the pool reflecting the chandelier glow like the house was trying to look bigger than it already was. I stood there with my champagne, my pulse hammering in my wrists, pretending I hadn't just heard my aunt claim ownership over a baby in a hospital bassinet, pretending I wasn't about to throw up. My mother leaned in close, lips barely moving. "Smile," she whispered. "Don't make this weird. Don't make this weird. Not, are you okay? Not, what happened? Just, don't embarrass us." My father slid into position beside me like he was taking a boardroom photo, one hand in his pocket, chin up, calm eyes. He didn't look at me, not really. He looked past me, at the crowd. Aunt Tessa worked the terrace like she owned it, not loud, not sloppy, calculated. She touched shoulders, kissed cheeks, laughing with people who didn't know her last name until tonight, but already thought she was so real. Then she drifted back toward the center, microphone in hand, tapping it once, just enough to make the room settle, like a teacher calling roll. "My sweet Claire," she began, voice warm and theatrical. "30 years ago, I watched you take your first breath." A little gasp from someone near the bar. Awes, smiles. My stomach turned, because I'd watched the file date, and now she was rewriting history in front of everyone. "She was a miracle," Tessa continued. "A blessing." She paused, eyes flicking to my mother. "And my sister fought for her." My mother smiled, tight and glossy, like her face was made of glass. Tessa sighed dramatically. "Claire's always been special." A laugh. "Delicate. Sheltered. Sheltered." That word landed like a bruise. "She never really had to struggle," Tessa said, and the room chuckled with her. "Not like some people." She lifted her flute slightly, acknowledging herself without saying it. I felt my mother's fingers clamp harder around my elbow. A warning. Tessa stepped closer to me as she spoke, like she wanted the camera angles clean, like she wanted my face in frame when she did it. "And I just want to say," she continued, "it's easy to be grateful when you think you earned everything." My heart started racing, because that wasn't a compliment. That was a setup. She tilted her head, eyes bright, voice sweet. "But Claire, sweetheart." A small laugh. "You really thought you were a princess?" The room laughed again, not cruel yet, just entertained. And that's when I knew. She wasn't here to celebrate me. She was here to bury me. I looked out at the crowd, 300 faces, phones raised, waiting for the punchline. Then I looked at my parents, at their polished smiles, their silence. And in that moment, I made my decision. If she wanted witnesses, I was going to give her a show. Aunt Tessa turned back to the crowd, lifting her glass like she was about to bless me. Her smile widened. The kind of smile you wear when you're about to push someone off a cliff and still expect applause. "Claire," she said, voice bright, "I just want you to remember something tonight." The string trio softened, like even the musicians knew this was the moment. "You didn't build this life," she continued. "You inherited it." A few polite laughs, nods from strangers who loved a rich girl joke. "And you know what?" Tessa leaned in, eyes glittering. "Maybe it's time someone tells you the truth." My mother's grip on my elbow tightened so hard it stung. But she didn't stop her. She didn't say, "Tessa, enough." She just held me in place. Tessa's voice sharpened. "You think you're a princess?" she said again, louder this time. "You think your parents chose you because you were special?" A hush began to spread. Phones lifted higher. Then she dropped it, right into the middle of my party, right in front of everyone. "You're not their real miracle," she said. "You're the debt they pay every day." Her laughter was thin, cold. "Your whole life," she continued, "you've lived on their money, on their love." She pointed her glass at me like it was a weapon. "And even your life, is only yours because of me." A few people gasped, not because they understood, because the tone had turned ugly, and ugly is entertaining when it's not happening to you. Tessa smiled like she'd been waiting years to say this sentence. "You're a replacement," she said. "A stand-in. A pretty little prop." My mother's smile didn't move. My father stared straight ahead. And then the final blade. "Your parents didn't want you," Tessa said, slow and deliberate. "They wanted a baby. Any baby. And I gave them one. As long as you replaced my child." She lifted her glass. "So here's to Claire," she said, "the princess who never earned her crown." The room froze. Some people laughed out of reflex. Some people didn't know what to do with their faces. And my chest felt like it had collapsed inward. I heard a sound next to me, a small, sharp inhale. My mother. Then she whispered, so softly I almost missed it. "Claire, don't." Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "This isn't true." Just, "Don't." That's when I stepped forward. I took the microphone out of Tessa's hand, gently, like I was accepting a gift. Her eyebrows lifted, surprised. The crowd leaned in. They expected screaming, tears, a breakdown. I gave them something else. A smile. Calm. Controlled. The kind of calm that scares people more than rage. "Thank you," I said into the mic, voice steady. "Truly, I love a toast with honesty in it." A nervous chuckle fluttered through the crowd. I turned slightly toward the house, toward the massive screen my dad had rented for the birthday montage. The photo slideshow, the baby pictures, the curated memories, the official version of my life. "Since we're doing truth tonight," I continued, "I want to share something too." I looked at my father. He gave the tiniest nod, automatic approval, because he assumed I meant something flattering. I walked to the laptop on the DJ table. My hands didn't shake now. Not because I wasn't terrified, because something in me had gone numb. I clicked the file. Hospital, 2014. Final.mp4. The screen went black. The terrace went quiet. Even the pool seemed to stop moving. Then the video appeared, shaky, fluorescent, real. My mother on a plastic chair. Tessa's voice sharp as broken glass. A ripple went through the crowd as people realized this wasn't a cute montage. This was evidence. On the screen, my mother said, "What do you want from me?" And Tessa's voice answered, loud enough for every speaker to catch it. "I want what I'm owed." A pause. Then the line that made my aunt's face drain of color in real time. "If you don't want to lose this baby," Tessa hissed on the video, You live in guilt. You let her replace my child. She's mine, but she'll wear your name." And just like that, the room stopped being my birthday party. It became a courtroom. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Not the DJ, not the servers, not the string trio. 300 people just stared at the screen, like it had sucked all the oxygen out of the night. And Aunt Tessa, my aunt who never spilled a drink, never smudged lipstick, never lost control, looked like she'd been punched. "No," she said, too fast, too loud. She laughed, sharp, desperate. That's taken out of context." Out of context, the favorite phrase of guilty people. My father finally turned his head toward her, slowly, like he was seeing her for the first time. "Is that your voice?" he asked. Simple question, no anger, just truth. Tessa opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "It was a long time ago," she said, hands fluttering. "I was upset. Your wife—" She pointed at my mother like my mother was the villain. My mother made a sound that wasn't a sob, more like a crack. I watched her, waiting for the words I'd begged for my whole life without knowing it. "I chose you. I love you. I'm sorry." She didn't give me any of them. She just whispered, "Claire, please. Please." That was it. The entire foundation of my perfect life. A plea to keep the image intact. A guest near the front murmured, "Oh my God." Someone else said, "That's sick." Phones lowered, not out of respect, out of discomfort. Aunt Tessa tried to step toward me, palms up like she was the wounded one. "Claire, honey," she said, voice trembling on purpose now. "You know I love you. You know I raised you." She leaned closer, eyes wet. "I did what I had to do." That line almost made me laugh, because it was the whole truth, without the part she meant. I took the microphone again, not to yell, to finish it. "My whole life," I said, voice steady. "You made me feel like I owed you for existing. But here's what you don't get," I continued. "A child isn't a debt. A child isn't leverage. And love doesn't come with terms and conditions." Aunt Tessa's face twisted, rage flashing through the mask. For a second, the real her showed. Then she snapped it back into tears. "I was protecting you," she insisted. "From what your mother did. From what she—" "Stop," my father said. One word, final. He stepped between us, and the crowd went even quieter. Because power always announces itself, even when it whispers. Aunt Tessa froze. My dad looked at her and said, "Leave." Not "go sit down," not "let's talk later." Leave. She stared at him like she couldn't believe anyone had ever said no to her. Then her eyes swung to my mother, searching for backup. My mother couldn't meet her gaze. Tessa set her glass down with shaking hands, and for the first time all night, she had nowhere to hide. She walked out through the side gate, heels clicking fast, like she was running from the sound of her own voice on that video. Nobody clapped, nobody laughed. The party didn't recover, because some truths don't fit back inside a balloon arch. My father turned to me. "Claire," he said, and his voice was careful now. "We can explain." I nodded once. "I'm sure you can," I said. People like my parents always have explanations. They're just rarely the same thing as apologies. I took off the pearl earrings my mother had picked. They photograph well. And I set them on the DJ table beside the laptop. A tiny, quiet refusal. Then I lifted my chin and looked at the crowd. 300 witnesses. 300 people who'd come for a birthday and got a confession instead. "I'm going to step out," I said evenly. "If anyone needs a toast, I think we've had enough honesty for one night." I walked toward the house, not running, not crying, just walking. Because for the first time, I wasn't performing. Outside the side driveway, the night air hit my face like cold water. I drew in one breath, deep, clean, and felt something unclench in my chest. All my life, I'd been the favorite daughter, the princess. Now I finally understood what I'd really been. A role, a replacement, a script. And here's the part that still shocks me, even now. The moment I stopped playing it, I felt free. I wasn't born to be someone's debt. I wasn't born to be someone's apology. I was born to be a person. And for the first time in my life, I chose myself.